United States is ready to unleash its wrath. Just moments ago, several reports revealed the presence of a highly classified U.S. attack submarine in Israeli waters. Valued at an astonishing $300 million, this advanced submarine has sparked intense speculation and shock across the world. As tensions in the Middle East escalate, the sudden appearance of this technological marvel has raised several concerns and also questions. What are the intentions of the United States submarines in the region? What are the features of this submarine that makes it feared? Join us as we explore the chilling capabilities of the secret United States $300 million attack submarine that has been spotted in Israel. In October 2023, the United States deployed its most expensive aircraft carrier, the USS Gerald R. Ford, which is valued at $13 billion, along with its accompanying escort ships to the eastern part of the Mediterranean Sea. This strategic move was followed by the deployment of another formidable aircraft carrier, the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower, to the same region, thereby significantly bolstering the U.S. naval presence in the area. USS Dwight D. Eisenhower, also known as the CVN-69, is a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier in the United States Navy. Commissioned in 1977, it is the second of 10 Nimitz-class carriers in service and is named after Dwight D. Eisenhower, the 34th President of the United States and General of the Army. Initially called USS Eisenhower, the name was changed to its current form on May 25, 1970. Like all Nimitz-class carriers, it was built at Newport News Shipbuilding Company in Virginia. The ship has been updated twice to meet the standards of newer carriers. Since it was commissioned, Dwight D. Eisenhower has been involved in various deployments, including the Gulf War in the 1990 and more recent United States military operations in Iraq, Afghanistan, and Yemen. It currently serves as the flagship of Carrier Strike Group 2. On June 29, 1970, Newport News Shipbuilding in Virginia received the contract to build the ship. This ship, known as Hull Number 599, was started on August 15, 1970, at a cost of $679 million, which is about $5.3 billion in 2023. It was launched on October 11, 1975, after being christened by Mamie Dowd Eisenhower, the widow of Dwight Eisenhower, and was officially commissioned on October 18, 1977, with Captain William E. Ramsey in command. Upon commissioning, it replaced the aging World War II-era carrier USS Franklin D. Roosevelt in the fleet. On October 14, 2023, Lloyd Austin ordered the Dwight D. Eisenhower and her team, which includes the cruiser Philippine Sea and destroyers Laboon, Mason, and Gravely, to head to the eastern Mediterranean due to Israel's conflict with Hamas. This decision came shortly after another carrier strike group led by the Gerald R. Ford was deployed to the region just 6 days prior. Currently, Captain Christopher Chowda Hill is leading the Dwight D. Eisenhower. To lift spirits, Captain Hill and other senior officers have introduced a guiding principle on the ship called the Way of the Warrior Sailor. Captain Hill uses a communication approach known as rapid, relentless, repetitive, positive communication to interact with the crew. He makes it a point to personally acknowledge each sailor, emphasize the importance of their roles, and reassure them of their performance. According to Hill, maintaining high morale is crucial for success in battle, which is the ultimate goal. This approach seems to be effective, as noted during an interview with CBS 60 Minutes. More recently, it has been disclosed that the White House has further strengthened its military positioning by dispatching an Ohio-class nuclear-powered submarine, specifically the Florida-class submarine, to the Gulf region. This deployment of the Ohio-class submarine has laid emphasis on the U.S.'s commitment to maintaining a robust and versatile naval force capable of addressing various threats and ensuring the security of its interests in the Middle East. The presence of these powerful submarines has sparked interest. But before we get into the reasons why the United States has deployed its submarines to this region, let's check out the capabilities of this attack submarine. These third-generation American nuclear-powered submarines were introduced between 1981 and 1997. They are also a key part of the U.S. Strategic Offensive Nuclear Forces, spending 60% of their time on combat patrols. Since 2002, they have been the only type of missile carrier in the U.S. Navy. Currently, 14 out of 18 of these submarines are armed with 24 intercontinental ballistic missiles of the Trident system, each with individually guided warheads. Ohio-class submarines have the highest number of deployed intercontinental missiles compared to others, such as Russia's newest Borei-class submarines, which have only 16 missiles each. Like their predecessors, the Benjamin Franklin and Lafayette class, the Ohio-class submarines are a key part of the United States nuclear defense strategy, along with the United States Air Force strategic bombers and intercontinental ballistic missiles. The 14 Ohio-class submarines carry about half of the United States' active strategic nuclear warheads. When these submarines go on patrol, their Trident missiles don't have set targets, but they can quickly be assigned targets by the United States Strategic Command in Nebraska, thanks to secure and constant radio communications, including very low-frequency systems. All Ohio-class submarines, except for USS Henry M. Jackson, are named after U.S. states, a tradition that was previously reserved for battleships and later cruisers. They are built for long strategic patrols. Each submarine has two full crews, named the Blue Crew and the Gold Crew, who each serve on 70 to 90-day deterrent patrols. To reduce the time needed in port for crew changes and restocking, the submarines have 3 large logistics hatches. These hatches allow quick transfer of supplies, equipment, and parts, making replenishment and maintenance faster. Additionally, these submarines have greatly improved stealth capabilities compared to earlier models. During its sea trials in 1982, the Ohio was almost undetectable, giving the United States Navy advanced operational flexibility. The design of these submarines allows them to operate for about 15 years between major overhauls. But that is now all. They are said to be as quiet at a cruising speed of 20 knots, which is about 27 kilometers per hour or 23 miles per hour, as the older Lafayette-class submarines were at 6 knots, although specific details are classified. The Mark 48 torpedoes are controlled by the Mark 118 Mod 2 system, and the missiles are controlled by the Mark 98 system. The Ohio-class submarines were built from hull sections, each foredeck section being 42 feet in diameter. These sections were made at the General Dynamics Electric Boat Facility in Quonset Point, Rhode Island, and then assembled at the Groton, Connecticut shipyard. The United States Navy has 18 Ohio-class submarines in total, including 14 ballistic missile submarines and 4 cruise missile submarines. The SSBN submarines form the sea-based part of the U.S. nuclear triad. These submarines were designed in the 1970s to carry Trident submarine-launched ballistic missiles. Initially, the first 8 submarines were equipped with 24 Trident 1C4 missiles. Starting with the 9th submarine, USS Tennessee, the remaining submarines received the larger, more powerful Trident 2D5 missiles. The Trident 1 missile can carry 8 warheads, while the Trident 2 can carry 12, offering more destructive power and better accuracy. By 2008, all remaining submarines originally armed with C4 missiles were upgraded to carry D5 missiles. The first 8 submarines were based in Bangor, Washington, replacing older submarines, while the other 10 were based in Kings Bay, Georgia. In 1994, a review decided that 14 Ohio-class submarines were enough for the U.S. strategic needs. Consequently, 4 submarines, Ohio, Michigan, Florida, and Georgia, were converted from ballistic missile submarines, or SSBNs, to guided missile submarines, SSGNs, between 2002 and 2008. These converted submarines can now carry 154 Tomahawk cruise missiles and 66 special operations personnel. The cost to refit each submarine was about $1 billion. During the conversion, 5 submarines, Pennsylvania, Kentucky, Nebraska, Maine, and Louisiana, were moved from Kings Bay to Bangor. As the U.S. strategic goals change, further transfers may happen. In 2011, Ohio-class submarines completed 28 deterrent patrols, each lasting about 70 days. At any time, 4 submarines are on hard alert in designated patrol areas. The USS Pennsylvania set a record with a 140-day patrol in 2014. The conversion modified 22 of the 24 missile tubes to hold large vertical launch systems, each capable of carrying 7 Tomahawk cruise missiles, allowing a maximum of 154 missiles. These submarines can also carry various other payloads, including new supersonic and hypersonic missiles, unmanned aerial vehicles, sensors for intelligence and surveillance, and counter-mine warfare equipment. The missile tubes on Ohio-class submarines have extra space for storage canisters, which extend the deployment time for special forces. Additionally, 2 Trident missile tubes were converted into chambers for divers to exit and enter the submarine. For special operations, the dry combat submersible and the dry deck shelter can be attached to these chambers, allowing the submarine to host up to 66 special operations personnel, like Navy SEALs or Marine Raiders. Enhanced communications equipment added during the upgrade enables these submarines to act as covert, forward-deployed command centers. On September 26, 2002, the Navy awarded General Dynamics Electric Boat a $444 million contract to start converting the first 2 submarines to SSGNs. The total cost to refit the 4 submarines was just under $700 million each. The initial funds were $355 million in 2002, $825 million in 2003, $936 million in 2004, $505 million in 2005, and $170 million in 2006. In November 2002, the Ohio entered dry dock for a 36-month overhaul to refuel and convert its missile systems. Electric Boat completed the conversion by January 2006, and the Ohio rejoined the fleet in February 2006. Florida followed in April 2006, Michigan in November of that same year, and Georgia in March 2008. These 4 SSGNs are expected to be in service until around 2023 to 2026, when they will be replaced by Virginia-class submarines equipped with Virginia payload modules. As part of the New START Treaty, 4 missile tubes on each Ohio-class SSBN were deactivated in 2017, reducing the number of missiles to 20 per submarine. The other 4 Ohio subs are cruise missile carriers. If we talk specifically about the submarine Florida, it is the 3rd American submarine of this class, launched in 1981. In 2003, instead of strategic ballistic missiles, it received the multi-purpose subsonic cruise missile Tomahawk and changed the corresponding index from SSBN to SSGN. Florida belongs to the 16th Submarine Squadron of the U.S. Navy, with a home station at the Naval Submarine Base, Kings Bay, Georgia. The submarine is 170.7 meters or 560 feet long and has a displacement of 18,760 tons. The boat has a single nuclear reactor. It's a double-circuit pressurized water reactor type SG developed by General Electric. Its resource, compared to the previous model, was increased by 2 times. The core contains nuclear fuel, highly enriched uranium-235. It's enough for about 100,000 hours of active operation, which is equivalent to about 9 to 11 years of constant use of the reactor at full power, or the range of full sailing, 280,000 miles or 450 kilometers, and in economy mode, 800,000 miles or 1,300,000 kilometers. Taking into account the real modes of operation, which have become much more gentle than during the Cold War, 3rd-generation nuclear submarines can serve up to 30 years without reactor core recharging, and 42 to 44 years if single recharging is performed. The reactor spins 2 turbines with 30,000 horsepower each. This allows the boat to reach speeds underwater of more than 25 knots, which is 46 kilometers per hour or 29 miles per hour. The surface speed is 17 knots. Ohio-class submarines are American nuclear-powered subs with single-hull designs. These submarines were designed with a focus on reducing noise and improving electronic systems, especially sonar. For self-defense, each sub has 4 torpedo tubes of 533 millimeters caliber located at the bow. These torpedoes, specifically the Mecha 48, can target both surface ships and enemy submarines. During upgrades under the Acoustic Rapid Commercial Off-the-Shelf Insertion Program, all sonar systems on Ohio-class subs were upgraded to the AN/BQQ-10 variant. This new system uses commercial off-the-shelf technology with an open architecture, making future upgrades easier. It also allows the subs to create detailed underwater maps and share them with other vessels. The advanced sonar can detect even small objects like mines. The WOY-1 station alerts the crew to acoustic threats, while the WLR-8 V5 radar warning system operates when the sub is surfaced. Additionally, the subs are equipped with Mk2 launchers for acoustic jamming and the AN/WLY-1 system for detecting and tracking incoming torpedoes. The Ohio-class submarine Florida is armed with 150 Tomahawk cruise missiles. Of its 24 missile silos, 22 have been modified for vertical launch, each holding 7 Tomahawk missiles. The 2 silos nearest the deckhouse are fitted with airlocks for combat swimmers to exit the sub while underwater. These can be used for missions involving Navy SEALs or Marines, allowing the sub to carry up to 66 additional personnel or up to 102 for short-term operations. Florida's crew consists of 155 people, including 140 sailors and 15 officers. The submarine can dive to an operating depth of 365 meters and a maximum depth of 550 meters. Florida is the only Ohio-class submarine that has participated in combat, launching 90 Tomahawk missiles at targets in Libya during the 2011 US-UK Operation Odyssey Dawn. But one question lingers, and that is, why is this nuclear submarine in the Persian Gulf? Well, best believe it's not for launching Tomahawks at Gaza. Israeli air power is more than capable of handling that. According to John Kirby, the coordinator for strategic communications at the White House's National Security Council, the United States sent a nuclear submarine to the Middle East to ensure the safety of U.S. military personnel. He also mentioned that the U.S. intends to send a strong deterrent signal to any party considering escalating or deepening the conflict. This likely means Iran, a longtime adversary of Israel, and potentially Russia. Iran has been supplying weapons like Shahed drones to Russia, which are used against Ukraine's infrastructure, and Russia has shared drone manufacturing technology with Iran. There's also concern that Russia might provide Iran with technology to produce hypersonic missiles, such as the Kinzhal and Zircon. Iran has already claimed to possess a hypersonic missile. If Iran were to use such a missile against an Israeli nuclear facility, it could be catastrophic for the small nation, which is roughly the size of 3 New York cities or the state of Utah. The fallout could render a significant portion of Israel uninhabitable, akin to the Chernobyl exclusion zone, and potentially trigger a nuclear war. Therefore, the presence of the Ohio-class submarine Florida, equipped with 154 Tomahawk cruise missiles in the Persian Gulf, serves as a powerful deterrent to prevent Iran and Russia from escalating the conflict further. However, the United States is not the only nation that possesses a very powerful attack submarine. Iran does as well. Iris Tareg or Tariq is the first Kilo-class attack submarine in the Iranian Navy, serving in the Southern Fleet. It is part of the 33rd Flotilla along with 2 other vessels. It is the first submarine ever commissioned by any country to operate in the Persian Gulf, and the second submarine owned by Iran after escalate, which never became operational in the fleet. The contract to build Taregs was signed in 1988. It was reportedly worth $750 million for 2 submarines, with an option for a third. Its construction began at Admiralty Shipyard in St. Petersburg in the same year. Tareg was launched in 1991 and commissioned on November 21, 1992 at the naval base in Bandar Abbas. The Russian crew sailed the submarine to Iran via the Baltic Sea, starting the journey in October that same year. The submarine is named after a famous Muslim warrior. Shortly after Iran acquired Tareg, the American submarine USS Topeka, also known as the SSN 754, entered the Persian Gulf to monitor it, although its stated mission was routine maintenance. According to Janes, there is no evidence that Tareg has ever returned to Russia for a refit. However, after negotiations for an upgrade, a refit began in Iran in the mid-2000s, reportedly with help from Rosoboronexport and Sevmash. Since then, Iran has been able to refit Kilo-class submarines on its own. Tareg fired electrically powered torpedoes for the first time in December 2011 during a war game called Vilayat 90. In May 2012, Iran announced that Tareg had been relaunched after an overhaul that replaced about 18,000 parts, including radar-evading covers, engine parts, propellers, and radars. At the relaunch ceremony, Admiral Habibullah Sayari mentioned that the Russians didn't provide any detailed instructions about the submarine, so the Iranian team had to figure it out on their own. In September later that year, Tareg was deployed in the Persian Gulf in response to naval drills by the U.S. Navy's Fifth Fleet. Later, it participated in the Velayat 91 exercise to test its new weapons, which took place from December 2012 to January 2013 in the Arabian Sea. In January 2015, Tuareg went on a mission to secure shipping routes from the northern Indian Ocean to the Strait of Malacca and the South China Sea. It joined the Velayat 94 wargame almost a year later, traveling to the Sea of Oman in the northern Indian Ocean. In November 2016, General Ataullah Salahi announced that Tuareg was ready for deployment as far as the Atlantic Ocean. Media reports also indicate that as of February 2019, Iran has upgraded Tuareg to fire submarine-launched cruise missiles. Thanks for watching. While you are still here, click on the link on your screen to check out another of our videos. See you there.